Welcome back to the show, everybody. It's Wednesday. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly. As promised last week, I told you I'd have this man on, Mr. OTT himself. I'm going to have to get a I'm an OTT guy shirt or something like that done or something like that. But Sean's on. We're going to be doing a review of Summerslam. We're going to be doing a preview of OTT Scrappermania. As always, a massive weekend coming up for OTT. A three-nighter. Forget about these two-night WWE pay-per-views. This is a three-nighter. And some would say in three different countries, but not all of us. But there you go. But yeah, we're going to be talking about that. We got the usual roundup of wrestling news as well and all that kind of stuff. Things not all happy in AEW at the moment. Dr. Britt Baker and MJF not happy with each other at all. And then we'll have a roundup of all the latest history and news and all that kind of stuff. Sean, how are you?
I'm doing great, Niall. How are you?
We're all happy when wrestling's good, aren't we? When wrestling's good, the world is a better place.
You'd swear when the companies try, it can be a fun time to spend all your hours staying up on weekends and all of your time during the week reviewing it, watching it, studying it, you know?
I seen a graphic on Twitter the other day, and it showed all the wrestling shows in a given week, including the pay-per-view week, say. And the graphic underneath was, how does any typical wrestling fan fit all this into their week?
You don't.
It's unbelievable. Like, it's just madness. Let's jump into the chat for a minute. Daz is there as always. Big up Daz, my man for the news and the graphics and everything else. Does a stellar job. And Jack is in. Big up, Jack. Good to see you, my friend, as well. But we're going to get into this. We got to talk SummerSlam. Unbelievable. We're going to break down. We'll go through the whole thing for you and stuff like that. Well, overall, what did you think?
I would say, first of all, much better than last year's show. SummerSlam's always like one of my favorite shows of the year, but I was deeply disappointed by it last year. I don't think it was like one of the best shows of the year in terms of match quality. Sure, there's great matches, but I think the main takeaway from SummerSlam for me, it's furthered a lot of stories and a lot of angles, which I think is just as good as having great wrestling. Not to say there wasn't great wrestling. I mean, Punk and Drew was great. LA Knight and Logan was great. Gunther and Damian Priest was probably best match of the night for me. I know Gunther has great matches, but I think Damian Priest's title run has been a little cold. So I think it's kind of been an uphill battle to get a good match. I'm really happy that he got it at the expense of losing Finn Balor and dropping the belt. But no, it was really, really good time. I had my brother and my friend over. We stayed up, made it all the way through. Beer and cider were flowing all night. Can't complain.
Sounds like a top night. I kind of felt, and we'll get into it with the Priest and Gunther match, it was kind of like all this talk going into it about, are these chops necessary and does it need to be this harsh and all? And the two boys were just opened up.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, was these two guys listening to the internet and going, fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
You do what we want. This is the new breed type of thing and all.
Yeah.
But let's get down through it. JSW in the chat, of course. What's up, lads? What do you think of the Wyatt 6 using Bray Wyatt's full team on Raw? It was absolutely awesome. We're going to get in and talk about Raw as well. I have to say, I'll talk about that Wyatt 6 in a little while, but it was
so good.
It was so good. So let's start right out of the bat. SummerSlam. Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. Any better way to start a pay-per-view? And although a lot of this was predictable, it was great as well as being predictable as well. So it didn't take away from it at all. Talk to me.
I think it's okay to be predictable if you pull it off well.
Yeah.
I thought the match itself, it kind of started off slow, but it was because Liv was stalling and stuff. But that's fine because that's part of her character. She's afraid of Rhea. I thought the match was really good when I got going. I'll be honest, the first time Rhea hurt her shoulder, I got concerned. Then as the match went on, I'm like, nah, I'm getting worked. Especially when she was like headbutting the desk. I was like, that's can't be.
And then popped it back in. That
yeah.
Really cool.
Like PC. Think she's like PCO or something, like with the collarbone sticking out.
Yeah.
But no, the match was really good, and I was kind of like, I don't know why. I don't think they're going to do anything with Dominic. I think they established that he didn't want to be with Liv, never wanted to be with Liv. Now he's with Rhea, but no, the turn at the end was so good because when he did it, I thought initially he made a mistake the way the Judgment Day, a lot of them are really clumsy when it comes to helping each other in matches. So
Sometimes.
I thought he did that by mistake, and then he kissed her, and I was like, no, that was the plan. And and for the first time in a long time after watching the pay-per-view, this angle especially, but the whole thing, which we'll get into, I said, I genuinely cannot wait to watch Raw and see what happens. This is what I'm on about. Yeah, when I say the matches themselves were fine, but it's the building angles that's important, you know?
Yeah, well, kind of the follow-up was really important as well, wasn't it? Because obviously we had this dilution, this dissolving of the Judgment Day in front of us. But then you always have that idea that, okay, they'll rock up on Raw and go, look, I'm really sorry, I made a mistake or this or that. And they all get back together and they're chummy again. And we're thinking, nah, we can't have that and all. So, so going into Raw was really exciting going to Raw to see, right, have we drawn these battle lines? Is this the way it's going to be and all? And we'll get into talking about Raw as well, absolutely. JS is in again. I popped when Dom turned on Rhea. Yeah, absolutely. And the funny thing about it, to go back and look at Rhea in the ring, to cut that kind of lonely kind of facial and, how kind of upset and disappointed and everything else and all. And it was so cool. It was so cool to see it. They were absolutely stellar. Keith, I like the tribute they did in the CM Punk and Drew match with the 97 Taker and HBK spot. Yeah, absolutely. We will talk about it. Absolutely. So, yeah, awesome stuff. What a way to kick it off.
Absolutely, yeah. Great way to get the emotions high.
Yeah, up next we had Bron Breaker versus Sami Zayn. I have to say I loved every bit of this. Just saying.
A bit more one-sided than I would have thought. I know Bron has to be dominant, but it wasn't even just over 5 minutes long, wasn't it? It's like 6 minutes 52 seconds.
Just over 6 or 7 minutes or something like that. Yeah, but
crazy.
I just wonder. I just wonder in booking it that way. Does it keep Sami with a little bit of credibility and build Bron to be this absolute Goldberg destroyer? So like it's not like. I got the feeling going into this and all and the build up to and everything. This was going to be. I was actually shocked it went 7 minutes. To be honest, I thought 7 minutes was doing Sami Zayn justice because this guy has just been folding lads in two. So like it's the fact that he lasted nearly 7 minutes is a tip the hat to Sami Zayn. To be honest, even though some people looked at it because a lot of the matches went much longer and stuff like that, this one was obviously shorter. But for me, the big moment in this, and I'm such a Steiner Brothers fan as well, to see how happy these guys were in the booth and DDP and everything and all, and the proudness of these guys as Bron was announced as the Intercontinental Champion. And good Lord, imagine when one day he's going to be announced World Champion. God, the reaction's going to be insane. But it was
rather than later.
Yeah, but it was a real proud moment. I loved it. I love the way they do these things, and of course we'll get into talking about Cody and Aaron Anderson as well. But the way they pull on your heartstrings with this stuff, and the way they peel back those layers of that onion to get you throwbacks and thinking and stuff like that and all. And I just thought it was absolutely electric. And the way the two boys jumped out of the seat when it was announced and all. And you hear the 1, 2, 3 in the background and Samantha's announcing Bron as the winner. And the two boys are just hugging each other and DDP runs over and all. It was such a cool moment.
They had a couple of legends up there, didn't they? They had like
I think Kevin Nash was there as well, wasn't he?
I think so. There's a couple of people. They just kind of showed them for a second. They only really focused on Steiners when
the less they show them, the less they have to pay, maybe.
No, I'd imagine so. But I think it's testament to Sami Zayn and Bron Breakker as well that they had such a short window of time, as we said, like just over 6-7 minutes, and they made it count, and they had a really good match. And I wouldn't say it was a total squash because Sami got like a couple of licks in, enough for it to be like a competitive match, but no, mostly Bron Breakker. And I hope that a lot of people who are really upset about Sami retaining at Money in the Bank can now, get on board with Bron Breakker.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed with Breakker as well, he didn't run the ropes quite as he does. Because I'm sure someone said to him, listen, take a handy. This is a pay-per-view ring here. Go easy.
Yeah.
You can't afford a turnbuckle to be snapping or something.
Do you remember at, what was it? I think it was TakeOver Stand and Deliver. It was a TakeOver Mania weekend. He was in a tag match and he was hitting the rope so fast he actually moved the ring.
The ring was moving, remember?
Yeah. So wouldn't want to do that, but no, great win for Bron Breakker.
Yeah, absolutely. JSW. Hopefully, the new Judgment Day with Finn Balor leading it will be brilliant. Hopefully, leading to a Finn Balor world title run. I
Me
don't
too.
know. We will talk about it, and we would absolutely love that to happen. But there's varying moods about how the new Judgment Day looks and all. Lots of people online talking about it being Judgment Day Timu and all this kind of stuff and all. So pending
Yeah,
on whether you're a Priest or a Ripley fan, tends to be like how you're going to judge this and stuff like that. Let's get on to the next one. LA Knight defeating Logan Paul to win the United States title. This is another one. The roster was crying out for this belt to return weekly, wasn't it?
yeah.
It really needed it, and it was nice as well. LA Knight finally getting his hands on it and stuff like that and all. And obviously Logan Paul leading into it. Some of his social media stuff didn't really help his cause in terms of hanging on to the belt either.
To put it lightly.
To put it lightly, what did you what did you make of this one with Machine Gun Kelly and the boys and everything and all? And
I was just hoping that something was going to happen to Machine Gun Kelly. You know the way whenever Logan Paul has like some celebrity, some influencer, whether it's KSI or iShow Speed or in this case MGK, that they get their comeuppance, they get thrown through an announce table. Maybe Kevin Owens was around. If they didn't bring him out for the main event, they could have brought him out to powerbomb off stage. No, I thought this match was good. I say it's a lot about Logan Paul. His matches, we all loathe how much fun they are. There's no reason for somebody to be in the business like for that short of a time to have that matches that good. And I think he's so talented and so athletic.
yeah,
And I saw a lot of people say like LA Knight, it's great that he's won. He's still hot, but he's not quite as hot. And WWE had the chance. I think they were saying when he faced Roman at Crown Jewel in Saudi for the title, they had a chance to strike when the iron is hot, and they didn't. They let him cool down a little bit for some people, just a little bit for some people, way too much. And now they've put the belt on him. But I think this is a smaller scale. I think, well, Logan was in controversy, but Logan's not around enough. And I do think the fact that he's not around, when he does show up, it feels significant. And he absolutely has, the talent and the match backlog to back it up. But I do think the US title needs to be featured. So I think it was the right call to put on LA Knight. And I don't normally agree with wrestlers losing their hometown, but I think I can let it slide for Logan Paul.
Absolutely. I was kind of thinking for a while there, that kind of, I don't want to call it mid card because I think everyone's doing a stellar job at the moment, but that kind of middle section of the roster, it was kind of void of something to pitch for, while that US belt was kind of offside, if you like, and not around. And
Yeah.
stuff. But I seen the footage as well of Logan Paul. Did you see him practicing that spot off the top rope? That skip up.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Just goes to show how invested he is in the business as well. Like that guy's worth millions and millions and millions, but still shows his love that way and puts in the work. But yeah, really, really cool. Next up, we had kind of sad to say this as well because I'm a huge fan of Bailey as well, and I like the new Nia Jax as well. But this was kind of the calm down match, wasn't it? Even though it was a women's match, Bailey versus getting beaten by Nia Jax with Tiffany Stratton there with the suitcase or the briefcase, I should say, not the suitcase. I was kind of expecting Tiffany to do that, but it's probably maybe a bit too quick in hindsight. It was probably the right thing to do, yeah?
Yeah, I think so. I'll say, I like Bailey. I was never a fan of Nia Jax, but I think she's come leaps and bounds. But this was the match where I told my brother and my friend, I'm going to recycle the cider cans. Do you want me to get you anything on the way back? That's not anything to do with Bailey or Nia Jax. Just the fact the match wasn't built very well. I don't. This doesn't really like affect my enjoyment of it, but Bailey's theme is real bad, really, 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 really bad. So that doesn't help. Both their teams are bad. It doesn't give you any reason to care about them. And the match was fine for the most part, but SmackDown the last few weeks leading up to this has been very, very poor, I think.
I think, do you know what it is? I think they kind of dropped the ball, the company did, in terms of Bailey becoming world champion again. And they kind of they diluted it a little bit. And because of that, because everything is so up here at the moment, operating at this level, anything below this level is seen as being nowhere near good enough. Even though we know both are fantastic,
And that's especially true on a pay-per-view scale of SummerSlam, like the second biggest show of the year. But I thought it picked up at the end. I thought Tiffany, I was expecting her to cash in, but I kind of like how she didn't because she's friends with Nia. But, there's going to be a point where she cashes in, and it's going to be very good.
Uh,
But do you think Bailey is going to still be champion by the time she decides to cash in? I don't know. I just think SmackDown needs to get a bit better. I'm hoping now that Roman's back and now SummerSlam that it'll get back. But no, I would say this was probably the weakest match tonight for me. But it was still fine, but just nothing that you would write home about.
Yeah, there wasn't that real emotional storyline in it, and I think I don't know what it is. Maybe they need to go back and look at that and try and figure out what's going on there. There seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between Bailey and between the fans in terms
Yeah.
of the timing of stuff, and when she comes out and stuff like that. Everything just feels really, really flat. And I don't. It's hard to put your finger on what it is. It's not. Is it the company? Is it the wrestlers? Is it the billing? Is it the build up? Is it? I mean, obviously, like when you've Cody and Solo, and you've Punk and Drew and Seth as ref, and you have all these other things happening as well. And when you start the show as well with Rhea and Liv and that whole Judgment Day thing, the bar is set so high on that pay per view then to begin with. So it's hard to follow it.
2 words, hooker section.
Yeah, that's it.
Let's bring it back.
Keith, when do you think they will pull the trigger with Bron by giving him WWE title? I would have him hold that IC title until Mania, have his push after Mania. It's not a bad shout. I think they need to take their time as well, because the one thing about this with Bron Breakker as well, as good as he is and as awesome as he is and all, you do this the wrong way, you're going to get it wrong, and when it goes wrong for these guys, it goes badly wrong, and it's hard to get it back then. So they need to be really calculated in their steps with Bron Breakker. Give him the IC belt, give him a good run with that, let him destroy loads of people, build it up again, kind of like what Gunther did, keep that credibility in there and stuff like that, and then really use it when you know the right time, because it's the gatekeeper belt again for the world title, and they'll know when the time is right and stuff like that. So let's enjoy his IC moment at the moment, and let's not be looking too far ahead for Bron. That would be my thing. Ian's in. What's the story, lads? Great SummerSlam event. Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic. Acers is in. Logan Paul is taking LA Knight to court over Prime Truck.
Oh yeah, I did see that. That's a terrible card, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, rotten. It's all at work as well. And you could tell that the window was down. He was just pushing in a bit of plastic that was inserted in there with the pipe. It wasn't even the window, so it was cool. So funny. Roman Reigns' new title belt is completely sold out in 1 minute. Yeah, seeing that. They're now selling them online now, about 14, 15, 1600. It's crazy, these belts that they do. I won't lie, I zoned out Bailey and Nia match. I can't connect with Nia Jax. I think she's so shit.
Yeah. I would say not as so shit as she was before, but not much better. But that's not saying much.
Yeah. Get rid of Judgment Day, Ministry 2.0. Gosh, God. See what I mean?
Not even Ministry.
There you go. Who do you think is next for Cody? Not too sure.
I don't know. That's still. I don't know about Solo again. Oh wait, Tongaloa. That'd be great, wouldn't it? That match should be very fluid, very choreographed, perfect. No botches, no mistakes. No, I don't know about Cody.
Nice and snug.
Yeah, he's on SmackDown. I just don't think I say like no, SmackDown's been bad. I'm hoping that it'll get better. I don't think there's much depth in like the main event division of SmackDown. Cody's there. Solo already got a shot. Roman is back, but he's just had a shot, and he seems to be kind of approving of Cody. So I don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of the good stuff that's been happening has been outside of both world titles.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like it's gone through this phase now for the last, say, since Mania, of this box ticking where you don't really get invested in it.
No.
So it's they'll need to look at that as well, obviously.
Unless they do something for Cena's retirement tour, but I don't know if it should be for the belt, because I think they'd feel sympathetic towards Cena. And this is crazy for me saying this, but Cena's not going to be around much longer. If they're not going to have him back full time, I wouldn't put a belt on him.
I was of the different opinion. I was of an opinion that Randy gets the belt and Randy drops the belt to Cena for 17 at Mania. That was my long-term bucket.
I'd love that. But I feel if he's not going to be around that long, I know it's like 2025 and it's after Mania that he's going. It's not like Mania's the last one, that's it. But if he's back full time, and if he actually, wins the match, God forbid, do you remember when that was? I think, I think that would be, Randy. But then Randy and Cena, like, it's nostalgic for me. But if you go back and watch those matches, there's at least a million of them, and a lot of them were unremarkable at best, and like really bad.
But a lot of them were in a time as well where wrestling was going through a very low cycle at the time as well.
Yeah, I'll say this: if you wouldn't want Brock and Roman again, why would you want Cena Orton? As you say, maybe like they were in the pits at that time, the company. So
I just want Cena to get the record.
So do I. Come on, man. Like I'm not saying he shouldn't, but
and I kind of want Randy to be the guy because of the history.
Yeah,
I kind of want Randy to be the who else? The only other person you'd want to do it is probably Triple H, maybe Punk, and Triple H can't wrestle.
Yeah,
so
you know to say beggars on a podcast can't be choosers.
That's it, absolutely.
As much as we'd like to.
That's it. Next up, Drew McIntyre defeated CM Punk. Finally got his win with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. This didn't need a belt because I had a bracelet. So we didn't need a belt. We had a bracelet.
The irony of saying you work with kids and then throwing away a match over a bracelet. No, I thought this was great. I seen a lot of people are disappointed by this, saying, the build was this much, this long, this personal, and it ended with Punk getting angry over a bracelet. But I think it's only the beginning. Now that Punk is actually cleared, he can actually do stuff now. I think they're going to lead to Bad Blood in October. And, not saying anything, but traditionally Bad Blood has always had a Hell in a Cell match. So,
certainly going to be interesting. And as the boys said earlier, that spot from Taker and Sean and stuff like that was pretty cool as well. It's cool the way they roll those things back and stuff, isn't it? Like, and it really, as I said, it tugs on us and stuff like that.
But still keep it fresh and like still give you, and maybe not the same excitement, but roughly the same excitement that you got when you were there.
Yeah, it's not done in a corny type of way. It's done in a tip the hat type of way.
Yeah,
which is pretty cool.
I don't mind that. If it's corny, no, forget about it. But no,
absolutely. What do you think now? Where does this go? Punk? Are we getting Punk and Seth? Kind of seems to be the way to go, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but then what about Drew? He still has his friendship bracelet with his dog and his wife on it. So
he needs to get a friendship bracelet belt.
Just buying, like, you can make them for like €2. Can you not just get another one and calm down? But no, I thought this match was great. I thought Punk looked really, really good. I know they kept alluding to this is the first time he'd had a televised singles match since was it 2013 or something like that? A decade. Maybe slightly over a decade. I think he looked great. Initially, I wasn't hot on Seth being referee because when this match was announced, I was like, oh my God, they're going to kill each other. This is going to be great. But then Seth was in there, and I'm like, oh, come on, just let him have a normal match. I thought he did great. I liked the fact he was kind of being funny, like Seth freaking Rollins, with the laugh and the shoes and like heckling them. And then at the end, he legit went off on Punk, and that nice character, the nice, happy, funny, like not taken seriously character was gone. I don't know. Could they do a triple threat maybe? Because it's not like he's on one side. He hates them both severely. So, but then all Drew did was like beat him for his title. Meanwhile, Punk came back to the company while he was away from the company, said all that shit about him. Hates him, says all the stuff about him. He's the one who hit him with the GTS. Drew didn't hit him with a Claymore. Drew didn't get involved. Drew didn't do anything like that. So, I think a triple threat could be good, but I think they should save it for Bad Blood, and if they're doing it Bad Blood, it should be Hell in a Cell, but I think it should just be Drew and Punk. But I think there is a lot more opportunities now that Punk is cleared, because I feel they were a bit restricted with what they could do because Punk wasn't cleared. All he could really do is promos, and Punk's great at that.
Yeah.
But with a build like this, you want to see a bit of action as well. So I don't know. I'd say just watch the space.
Yeah, it was great to see him back in there, all right. And I thought Seth as ref as well. Remember when he was going down for the count and he goes, I can't get down quick, my knee. All this kind of thing. It was so good,
Him and his Sabu pants.
Yeah, because the thing I was really worried about is that the whole guest referee thing might overshadow the whole thing, really.
Yeah, that's what I
But
was
it
worried
didn't.
about as
It
well.
was
But
just
no,
cool little moments when they injected stuff in there, which was really, really cool. Then we got Gunther versus Damian Priest.
very
Whoa.
surprised at how good this was. I know you can't have a bad match with Gunther, but I thought Damian Priest was gonna break the streak. But no, great match, and I thought the Finn turn at the end was so good.
Yeah,
And
really, really.
I know we talk about not striking when the iron's hot with LA Knight. I think WWE not only did they not strike the iron with Finn Balor, they got the iron really hot. They left it on a window to cool. They forgot they put it there, and the house burned down. But with Triple H's vision, I'm not just saying this because he's Fergal Devitt, he's Prince Devitt. He went from art centers in Cavan with Wrestling.ie feuding with Duncan Disorderly, and now he's in the WWE. I am hopeful that the new Judgment Day and him as the leader can do special things. But again, I'll wait. But I liked as well how Damian Priest didn't realize what happened until he looked up at the screen.
Yeah.
So he thought something happened, and he's like, "Oh, Gunther got his foot in the rope, shit!" And then he looks up and he sees what happened.
And it's the most simplistic turn, really, isn't it?
It's
Because
so yeah.
you could make a melee out of this and make it something really, really huge, but it was so simple. It was so big.
Yeah, it was the same as the Dominic and Rhea thing. It's a really simple way, like actually costing you and siding with your partner. But if you do it right, it's so effective and it's so good. Wrestling doesn't always have to be so complicated. But
yeah, like you said, this was quite simple and predictable and all, but yet so brilliant.
Yeah, and I really hope Finn can go far here. Would they put the belt on him though? I don't see him beating Damian Priest, or not Damian Priest. Sorry, Gunther.
Yeah, interesting. Or could they switch it? I mean, we're going to get into talking about Raw and Randy Orton and all showing up for Gunther for Berlin, and also we will get into that.
Actually, I've got a better idea. Do what they were meant to do, take over Dublin, and put Gunther and Finn in the 3.
Interesting. And then, of course, we had the moment that everyone was waiting for. We kind of felt once it was Bloodline rules, we knew kind of Roman was coming back, but how would that look? Would it be Heyman as well? Would Jimmy be with him? Or it was so simple again, the way it was done, so straightforward and simple. But Cody Rhodes defeating Solo in Bloodline rules match, obviously with Roman returning.
Yeah. I'll say I'm not just saying this because Roman's so good, but he has left huge shoes for Solo Sikoa to fill in terms of like the tribal chief, and I don't think he's filled it. I think
remember a while ago when people were saying we were sick of Roman and he never defended the belt and never dared. We'd all these Cody crybabies and all those same Cody crybabies the other night popped out of their seats for the return. Wrestling fans are so fickle.
Yeah, no, we want everything until we get it. But no, I just think SmackDown's been bad. Solo, he's only been doing promos. SmackDown's ended the same the past few weeks. I think the bloodline that he has now, aside from Jacob Fatu, possibly Tama Tonga, absolutely not Tonga Loa. I don't think they're quite as good as the. It's just me listening to bands now because I have to say the OG lineup, the original lineup. That back in my day they had, I think Bloodline rules. They're always going to be so long and really slow, and especially with Cody, someone who's had really good pro wrestling matches, they're quite different.
I thought that this demonstration of Reigns' psychology as well, just walking to the ring. He wasn't running. This wasn't Ultimate Warrior Fields return or anything like that. This was, I'm going to stroll up there. I know who I am. I know what I'm capable of. And I'm just going to do what I got to do. And that's it. And it was awesome the way they did it.
No, it was so well done and such a great pop. And I'm happy that he didn't. It wasn't like a great Khali job, like at a Battleground where he just showed up, interfered in the main event, and then pisses off and is never seen again. He's going to be on SmackDown Friday, but I don't know. He's going to be against Solo Sikoa because Solo's been saying all this shit about him and he did what he did to Paul Heyman. But is he with Cody? Because it seemed like he gave like a nod to him that was like, yeah, like I approve, like an approving nod. Like saying, yeah, go. I don't know if that's just because he wanted to punish Solo, or maybe because he wants to get the belt back himself. I think he's going to be nice, and he's slowly going to descend into jealousy, and we're going to get Cody Roman 3 at would you say Mania? I don't know. I'm not a fan of
Not too sure.
3 Mania main events in a row. I don't care what no, not a hope. No,
Yeah.
scratch that. They'll have a match at Mania, hopefully not main. Maybe main on night 1, but not night 2.
Yeah, absolutely. But certainly Roman certainly wants those historical red beads back and all. He wants all that thing and the whole lot and all. You can see it and all. And I have to say as well, if you haven't watched it yet as well, that Damian Priest 24 was excellent as well. They really do. The documentary stuff they do is legendary. But I have to say, literally, Sean, after every match on this, all I thought was of that Batista promo where he says, "You're going to give me what I want." I just thought about this. Every single match they gave me what I wanted, So I have to say, rounding it out, it was a phenomenal SummerSlam. Very much up there with the greats of SummerSlam as well. No doubt about it. So, again, so simplistic, so easy, so structured, so simple to pull off, and yet so brilliant. And sent us home and sent everyone home going, hey, when's Raw? When's SmackDown? Can't wait for this. And that's what it should be. That's what at times WrestleMania has lost. That legendary Raw after Mania that now delivers so little, only an awful lot of talk and very little wrestling. And when we get into talk about Raw as well, we're going to be talking, of course, about there was plenty of wrestling on it as well. It was stacked and stuff like that. This moment here I thought was exceptional, and I really like the way they do this now. These entrance walks through the gorilla position and all through the place and all.
With the cage lowering music, that dun, dun,
yeah,
dun,
and how good it was. It's real UFC vibes off it actually. And how cool it was that walk with Pharaoh as well, and then to walk up to Arn Anderson. This is a guy, Arn Anderson, who absolutely tortured Dusty Rhodes for years. But he was also the man who was the Four Horsemen. Everyone talks about Ric Flair and all. Arn Anderson was the Four Horsemen, really, when you think about it. He was the guy. He was the concept. He came up with it all. So for him to be putting back together like a faction for Cody to protect Cody and all that you have friends and all that was super cool. Coming from a guy who was a horseman who destroyed Dusty Rhodes for years. You know what I mean? The hypocrisy of it was so cool, and the irony of it. So I have to say I popped for this moment as well. Absolutely delighted to see Arn Anderson back in there in WWE as well. I was so happy when I heard he was leaving AEW. It was awesome. And I knew he'd be back in WWE. I love Arn Anderson.
No, he's fantastic, isn't he?
Yeah,
and so this is a really cool moment as well. Really, really cool.
Yeah, and I have to say, in everything that we got the 4 title changes, of course, which was really, really cool. You could say 5 if you want to include SmackDown with the tag belts as well with DIY. But it's cool as well. And sometimes people look at this, if you get a lot of title changes, it doesn't always sit well with people and stuff like that as well. So it was really, really cool that worked. But I have to say, for me, 2 of the moments on that night outside of the pay-per-view were definitely the Arn Anderson one and the Steiners one with Bron Breakker. So it was just so cool.
Pharaoh's not the only one on a retirement tour this year.
Yeah,
John Cena and Pharaoh retirement tour.
Yeah, absolutely. Acers mentioned earlier there as well. It's a shame Edge won't be on the farewell tour. Who knows?
Yeah.
Never say never. Never say never.
2025, better hurry up.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, that talk Beth Phoenix as well has finished up at WWE as well, and we'll see how that goes now. Obviously, wishing Beth all the best.
Lead us around.
Yeah, absolutely. Punk versus Rollins, WrestleMania 41. I'm okay with that.
I think they were meant to do that this year before Punk got injured. So yeah,
we're talking about Punk versus Drew, Bad Blood, Hell in a Cell main event.
I mean, unless they've got something for Cody, what else can it be?
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't see Paul with Roman at SummerSlam.
No, he's growing his beard and selling his injuries.
That's it, yeah. And he's catching up on his sleep.
Yeah, Jesus, like.
Yeah,
it's where he's staying up for these shows with us, like with how jaundiced his eyes up.
They really are nailing the pay-per-views at the moment. Cody Rhodes versus Roman 3 at Rumble.
Yeah, not main event, but Rumble, yeah, I think that would be.
Do you think Cody's going to hold the belt all the way to Mania? Seems a long way away, doesn't it?
I mean, 2 years of storytelling if they're going to...
Yeah.
As long as they just keep him interesting and exciting, because Roman was like that, and then he got so boring. It will happen with Cody sooner or later, but
There
just
has been a lot of talk that Cody's first 100 days hasn't been overly flattering, really. So yeah,
well,
it's still a big.
two great matches with AJ, especially the one in France.
Yeah.
There's loads more, just can't think of them. But yeah, no, he's he's a good
But
champion.
they're kind of more like standalone kind of matches rather than deep build. Where we're
Yeah,
so used to deep build and entrenched storyline and emotion and all. Like
and
I was
again,
glad we did the AJ back to back because I was thinking maybe if you run it along a bit, it might feel better.
yeah, and again, as I'm saying, wrestling doesn't have to be too complicated. Not every storyline has to be like really deep and indulgent and a lot of history behind it. You can just have two guys who want to prove they're better than each other. And I think
Yeah,
having a mix that is great because I think Roman's matches were too storyline heavy. And of course, storylines is the most important thing in wrestling, but you need to mix it up. Not every title defense that Roman had was on the level of Cody, just like every title defense Cody's going to have is not going to be on the level of Roman.
yeah, absolutely. What did you make of this? I certainly popped when I seen this. Jesse
Oh,
the
yeah.
Body Ventura is back, baby. What
I
did you make?
was very surprised to see him back, but he's so good. So I think, yeah, with Vince, I think, was it Jesse Ventura? He tried to start a union for workers, for wrestlers, and then Vince stamped
That's
it
right.
out. So when that happened, I was like, there's no way he's coming back, but he was so
Yeah.
entertaining. But now, Vince is gone, Triple H is in. And it's so great that people I know like it's SummerSlam and stuff, so it's a big deal. So you kind of have to shake hands with everyone. But I like how people actually like took the time to shake his hand and recognize him because there's a lot of legends there. As you said, Steiner Bros are there, DDP was there, and now Jesse Ventura is there. But
It
no,
just it adds that other layer, doesn't it? Like even that talk with Punk. Did you hear what he said? Punk went back, and if it was good enough for Punk to go back, it's good enough for me,
yeah,
kind of thing, which
yeah,
is kind of cool as well. And I'm sure I was looking at the meet up with Punk there and so, and Punk was just in awe of him, and it's so cool. It's really cool when you even see guys at that level, the likes of Punk and all, fanboying out a little bit. I met Jesse actually in at WrestleMania 35. We met him at the WrestleCon.
oh
And
no way,
so cool because I am Predator would be up there for me as one of my all-time favorites. And
oh
I
yeah,
actually have I have the exclusive Predator pop over there, the clear one with the blood,
I
signed
forgot
by
he was.
Jesse.
I
Signed
forgot
by
he was in
Jesse.
Predator. Yeah, he's done
Yeah.
everything.
Well, see, I'm old enough to remember when they ran the original plugs for the Predator movie on Wrestling Superstars and all, and coming back and Gorilla Monsoon and all, giving them socks about it, and
Stone
especially
Age.
they always kept on showing that clip where he ducks in and goes, "I ain't got time to bleed,"
Yeah,
pushing just to talk about it.
yeah,
But I remember when they were plugging that movie originally and all, and Jesse was on commentary and all, and it was so good, and they were winding him up as being this movie star and all that kind of stuff. But I was such a huge Jesse fan, and even on commentary, he was brilliant because he was kind of brash in a heelish kind of way, but
yeah,
always just spoke and called it as it was, good or bad. He called it as it was. So he wasn't quite a heel commentator. A lot of people thought he was, but he wasn't. He was really just a kind of a brash, upfront, this is how it is kind of guy. But the way he spoke about stuff and all was really cool, and he always gave Hogan an awful time as well, which was always awesome as
yeah.
well. So even though I
No,
was a huge Hogan fan as well, but at the
yeah,
time, but it was cool. But I'm old enough to remember watching them live on TV on Wrestling Superstars.
yeah. No,
Those,
I think he as a commentator and a wrestler, but as a person, especially when he started that union or tried to start, I should say,
yeah.
I think he was worth a lot more than what Vince gave him. So seeing him back and seeing him appreciate, I think was really nice.
Yeah, and hopefully they'll do a line of figures on a book, and maybe they don't do DVDs anymore, but hopefully they'll do a 24/7
Don't
or
remind me.
or something
Yeah,
like that, and get him out there and stuff like that and all. And it's cool, and it's these little steps that are kind of cool. Like even that moment there with Triple H is so cool and stuff like that. And you can see H is doing so much work in the background on these things. The Steiners, obviously DDP and all. Jesse, all these different guys that they're bringing back in, and he was obviously instrumental in Bruno coming back in and making amends and all that kind of stuff. And it's really, really important that the business does mend those bridges because these guys are a huge part of the fabric of pro wrestling. You know what I mean? So
oh,
to leave them
100%. Yeah,
behind is not a great
100%.
thing. But yeah, Jesse was the man basically.
Yeah.
let's switch it up a little bit so we can bring the
Oh,
crowd down
oh
again
God.
on the
Okay.
podcast. I don't think I could have picked a better picture, but
No, right back down to earth. We were like
what do you make of
reminiscing.
this? This all kicked off in a big way. Um,
Um, I don't want to say something that's wrong. From what I know, I think MJF is going out with a girl called Alicia Atout. Atout.
yeah,
Yeah, I know her. She does interviews with
yeah,
wrestling. She's a great interviewer. Apparently she's going out, and I heard Britt Baker said that she was like a bitch or something, and then MJF confronted her about it. And people were saying like he punched a hole through a wall, like
yeah,
someone on Jeremy Kyle or something. But apparently that wasn't true. Apparently he just
yeah,
gave out to her.
yeah,
Fair enough. And I
yeah,
think she's suspended now, but people are saying she's probably still going to be at Wembley
yeah.
in
I
a few weeks. I don't know.
I heard the way they built it up and the way they were talking about it. And I got feels of, the way the anticipation we had of the Punk video footage at Gorilla Position being
Oh,
released. And I was
yeah,
thinking, this is probably a whole lot of nothing, really. You know what I
yeah.
mean? But interesting all the same. But yeah, madness.
That Punk video. I remember like I was at Wembley, and obviously I wasn't on my phone during the show. I think I went on
Mm,
it during the Young Bucks and
yeah.
FTR because the match was quite shit. But I just wanted to see what the world was thinking. And Sean Ross Sapp is saying there's been
You were trying to
yeah,
confirm. You were trying to confirm your own opinion.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I saw someone tweet, "This is the most pissed match in London because everyone's gone to the toilet during it." But
And none of it was FTR's fault. I'm just putting that out there now. Big
yeah,
fans of FTR.
yeah, no, Young Bucks, Bowling Bucks. But he made it out to be a fucking massacre that genuinely endangered people's lives. And I'm thinking, oh my god, like what happened? And then they put out the footage, and it's like a secondary school scuffle. Push, guillotine. That's the end of
Yeah.
it. Um,
And the fact that Tony Khan was in fear of his life.
my life was in danger at a wrestling show. I've been going to
It,
shows for
it,
17 years.
it's probably one of the most disappointing reveals I've experienced, not only in pro wrestling, but probably in most of my life, to
Yeah.
be honest.
And you know the worst thing? Completely backfired for AEW. The whole point of that was to embarrass CM Punk. Meanwhile, everyone just said, yeah, what an idiot.
Yeah.
And people paired the footage from the fight, and then Punk on Ariel Helwani talked about the incident, and everything that he said lined up. So,
yeah,
yeah.
that was crazy. Keith in. I wouldn't have Roman hold the title again just because of his legendary run with the title. You will never see 4-year run like that ever again.
No, especially not from the same person.
He's probably reached that godlike status now where the belt is he's beyond the belt.
Yeah.
That kind of way, maybe.
No, I mean, the reign is set in stone. Like, if he retires tomorrow, like, he's going to have a great legacy.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I get that. I don't know about putting the belt on him again, though.
There you go. Aces. I thought Triple H is still pissed over SummerSlam 99.
And
Oh, God. Big up, Romy. Good to see him, my man. And LM is in as well. What's up? Jacob Fatu leaving with his ankle wrapped after SummerSlam is a bit of a letdown. It's not a bit of a letdown because apparently it's a work.
Yeah, he was apparently told to sell it.
He was told to sell it and put the build on. And that's why he was probably in the convenience store taking pictures with lads who were going to spread the gospel of the Lord on social media.
I think Jacob Fatu is the best of the new bloodline by a long shot. He's a freak. I love him.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'm kind of glad we held off on the Jacob Fatu Roman Reigns because I actually think that could be the money gig. That could be the gig. I'm not sure whether Solo's the money gig or not.
Solo, not yet. Tama Tonga could be. Tonga Loa would be attending the money gig in the front row.
Can you imagine a situation where it kicks off and Jacob Fatu gets a win over Roman Reigns?
Jesus Christ, that would be.
And remember, we've a lot of Fatu still to go. There's a lot of Fatu who hasn't showed up on the show.
We're not even at the tip of the iceberg.
We're not even at the A in Fatu. We're just at the F.
Yeah, no,
absolutely.
But if the rest of his family or anything like him, I'd bring them all on.
Roman getting cheered finally as a face. What?
Wrestling's very, very strange.
All those Cody crybabies in the crowd go, Roman, Roman.
Yeah, I saw someone
Yeah.
in a John Cena hat, like wearing it backwards. Like, it can't be Roman, can it? And then, and he's going insane. So yeah,
Romy's in.
people
Priest,
change.
Breer, and Roman, baby faces. I'm digging it. There you go.
Yeah, absolutely.
Odyssey Jones. We're going to talk about Odyssey Jones. Don't worry about that.
I
Good
forgot he
Lord.
existed. I forgot he existed. I'm being honest with
Have,
you.
have you ever seen a man scoop up two side guys and make it look the coolest thing in the world?
No,
Look
I
at
thought he
two.
was going to be another Veer Mahan,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
always coming, never arriving, and then he arrived and he's brilliant.
They do like the slow build, don't they?
Yeah, there's slow build, and
Only
then
took a
there's
year. Only took a year.
yeah, patience. Patience is a virtue.
The
Patience.
secret for all you NXT stars in the future is when it's draft week, go sick.
Yeah, good things come to
Go
those who wait.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Right, let's talk about Raw. Where to begin? Randy challenging Gunther for WWE title at Bash in Berlin.
I love how they kept saying, "I'm going to challenge you in Germany, in your hometown," and he's from Austria.
Yeah.
At least get it right. It reminds me when at Clash the Castle, the first one in Wales, they're like Drew back to his hometown. I'm like, it's Wales. Yeah. It's not from there. But I'm very excited for that match, and I feel France set a standard. Now every international crowd that are getting a pay-per-view from here on out are going to try to beat them. And it's on at 6:00 in the day. I mean, how can I? No complaints. I can't wait. It's going to be lovely.
Fantastic. That's what we want. Certainly going to be interesting. And certainly you have kind of Randy from that old school type of way, third generation and all that kind of stuff, with Bob Orton Sr. and Jr. and stuff like that and all. And El Randy's physique, he won't like his physique getting chopped up by these chops and all into the meat grinder.
No.
No. And how big has Randy Orton got as well? He is gigantic.
You can be as big as you want, but one chop from that and he'll hit you so hard you'll forget how to love.
Yeah. Then we had kind of Sheamus defeating Ludwig.
I can look past Sheamus's new theme over this match. It was so good. And I was thinking, I don't think I said this about Bron Breakker, but the Intercontinental title division, the kind of mid-card division on Raw, has a couple of people. Sheamus, Bron Breakker, Sami Zayn, Ilya, Bronson Reed. Not too many, but I think Ludwig Kaiser's now added himself to that because this match was genuinely phenomenal. And when you see Ludwig Kaiser, if you only know him as like the guy you introduced Walter, like, I demand all your gratitude. Like, if you only ever see him like that, you'd forget that he's actually a brilliant wrestler and he had a great match.
Yeah,
so good, yeah.
Yeah, then we had Balor rubbing salt in the wounds of Damian Priest. This is where we got the strict boundary lines are defined now.
I really liked the shot of him saying, I can't remember what he said, but when he said it, Carlito, JD, Liv, and Dominic all came behind, because I was thinking, where did everyone else's allegiances lie? But then I answered it all in that, and that was a real, I think, kick in the teeth for Damian Priest. I thought that was really, really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Lyra Valkyrie defeating Shayna Baszler, big win by disqualification.
This new tough team of Shayna, Zoe Stark, and Sonya Deville is tough until they need to get DQ over Bird Lady from Ireland. But I thought the match was all right. Lyra's brilliant. I don't think Shayna has much heat at all. Probably not as much heat. Probably a little more heat than at the Final Testament, as we'll get to later on. But I think Shayna's. You see her in Bloodsport. Like, she's at Bloodsport against Miyu Yamashita a few weeks ago, and she was at Bloodsport against Masha Slamovich, and you would forget how great she was and how great she can be, but just can't because of this regime. And Zoe Stark is, meh at best, I think.
Yeah, and probably should be a big star.
Yeah,
has a great look and has all the tools to be one, but it's a weird evolution at the moment in the women's division, isn't it?
Yeah, no, great look, great moveset, maybe not great promo, but everything else I think she's got. But again, this is a brand new group, so I think maybe shitting on them now isn't too wise because they've had maybe 1-2 matches. So we'll see.
Bronson Reed attacks Seth Freakum Rollins.
Bronson Reed
these days.
I used to think he was so bland and just there and just another big guy. And then he comes out and he's the only thing I'm talking about on Raw. And this Raw had the Judgment Day stuff, Randy Gunther, the White Six, and I left all of it talking about Bronson Reed.
Yeah.
So, so good.
You kind of when he originally came in, you got that kind of Funkadactyls feel out of him, didn't you? The kind of thing.
Yeah.
And now he's just a monster. And I tell you, I don't know what it must feel like to be lying on that mat and see this guy turn in midair and land on you. That size.
Can't pay enough.
It must be scary. It must be scary.
Yeah.
Keith saying, what do you think of Triple H said there'll be something big happening at the end of the year? Has to be War Games, doesn't it? It's going to be massive.
Yeah, they've confirmed. Yeah, they've confirmed that. That's end of November, I think, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What if somebody comes back like last Survivor Series War Games?
Yeah.
John Cena announces their retirement tour was a prank, and he's actually staying for another 5 or 6 years. God, that would be.
Or we get another Edge. We get another Edge comeback.
Another one. I don't know. That'd be great.
Woods will turn on Kofi and Odyssey. Woods wasn't impressed with what happened. He wasn't. I'm a big fan of Xavier Woods. I was always a big fan of the New Day anyway. So
yeah.
But, what you make of this guy? How impressive is that? Look at that down there, that picture.
Yeah.
There's both guys up like they're two shopping bags. And just absolutely drops them.
No, he's a freak. He was a meme because I remember he was like one of the early picks of the draft. Yeah. Never seen again. And I was like, we're never going to see him. But I'm very happy we have because I want to give him a chance and he didn't disappoint. I will say, though, I think the Final Testament are probably the worst faction on Raw and in WWE right now. Hear this. They went out to the French crowd for SmackDown. The easiest crowd in the world. You could have smiled and they would have been all over you. To silence. Dead silence. Not even a case where they're facing Newcastle Republic, who people like, so automatically booed the heel. Just nothing. And I don't think adding Xavier Woods to this or breaking up the New Day to add Xavier Woods to this will do any good to them. Which is a shame because I like everyone in it. I really like AOP. Paul Ellering's a legend. Karrion Kross is cool, but I don't know, man. I don't think adding more people to it will do anything. They really need a shake-up or something.
Yeah, Romy's in with what you said. Gunther, a German. Someone get out on a map for Christmas.
Yeah.
It threw me back to that time. Remember when we found out Jinder Mahal was Canadian?
Yeah.
And you go,
yeah.
What?
I was like that as well, yeah. What about, instead of Bash in Berlin, Anarchy in Austria or Vengeance in Vienna? Violence in Vienna. There you go. That's better.
Yeah, they could have done like the WrestleMania, do it in 3 different locations.
Yeah.
Hologram Gunther versus the Wyatt Six.
I watch it.
Yeah, imagine Demon versus Damian Priest, Bad Blood. Are they going to roll back into Demon?
Would you do Hell in a Cell, or would you only do? I think I'd save Hell in a Cell for Punk and McIntyre because stipulation fatigue is the thing.
Do you know what they could do with this? They could run this all the way to Survivor Series and do a War Games match as well, and just get Damian and Rhea to get a few friends.
Do you think they do a mixed gender War Games?
I tell you, well, Rhea's pushing for this mixed gender stuff. Yeah. Rhea's definitely pushing for this because I 100% think we're going to get Eddie China. We're going to get Rhea Dominic at some stage. There's no doubt about it. It's going to happen.
My brain went blank there when you said Eddie China. I'm like, they're dead, right? There's no way they're going to, Triple H can work miracles, but not like that. So what would it be?
That's the crown jewel in me looking for the ultimate match card.
You're not secretly the Prince of Saudi Arabia, are you? Wanting Yokozuna for the...
No.
But then...
I take Ultimate Warrior, though.
Yeah, Warrior. And Hiroki Sumo and Dan Matha, all the main event in any arena. But if it's War Games, so it'd be Finn, Jordan, Carlito, Dominic, Liv.
Yeah.
And then Rhea, Damian. So who else would they?
They'll have to bring in a few. They'll have to hire a few buddies.
Yeah. Look at the talent pool, the free agent talent pool.
Yeah. That actually could be the card where you might get Rhea versus Dom.
I don't think they'd ever. Would they?
I,
If
I think Rhea's been pushing for this so hard. I
Rhea
think
would
it's going to
take
happen.
that'd be a no bump match for Rhea Ripley.
Remember when she had that? Remember when she was going along dying to get an RKO. Remember she was
Yeah.
pushing to get RKO and stuff and all like that.
Mm,
I wouldn't be surprised at all if you got Rhea versus Dom. And in fairness, Rhea versus Dom wouldn't feel like that kind of that level of difference really and stuff like that because she's such a performer and she's a monster as well. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So
she's
yeah,
class.
Lucha Bros coming to NXT soon.
Maybe. I don't
Mm,
know.
interesting.
And if there's
Uh,
like it's still doing a TNA crossover, I was gonna say they could do the Rascals and Lucha Bros. Black can't happen. What about ABC if they come over, Ace Austin and Chris Bay?
Imagine you're going to get in. We could get into Lucha Bros. We also potentially are getting into Machine Guns.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything since on that. I just keep hearing
Mm,
people say they're on their way, but man, can you imagine?
yeah, absolutely. Hope this Bronson Reed push lasts longer than a month. It definitely will.
I don't
Definitely.
think they can kill Seth Rollins and have him bleed from the mouth just to push it
Mm,
for like a month. I'd hope it's longer. All the signs are there saying it is, but again,
yeah.
never know.
Romy's in. Priest is impressing me. His mic work and ring work is getting better. It is improving. In fairness, he had a lot to prove in this match as well because he had a couple of matches there that kind of didn't deliver for a number of different reasons, stuff like that. So this was really important. Even though coming out on the losing end, to still put in the performance that he did was really, really important. But spot on. Bronson Reed was scary in NXT and New Japan. He's scary now as well.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah.
The new turtle wrestlers look cool as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
A-Town Down Under defeating Awesome Truth.
Why did this happen?
No.
No, I mean, like, what about the brand split? Does that not mean anything here? Are we going back to the wild card rule?
Well, I
Remember that?
presume Martin and Gunther in the same ring. Obviously, is at the scene.
Yeah. No, I don't mind it. Match was fine. Awesome Truth. I feel, meh. Yeah, I'm nostalgic for that period of Raw, 2011 Raw, but I don't want to see it again because it's why a lot of people were watching TNA or not watching wrestling at all. A-Town Down Under, I think, they're very good heels, but cheap, like at SummerSlam, they're like Cleveland's the worst football team in the world or whatever. Um, yeah, I don't know. It was fine,
Yeah,
had its place,
absolutely.
but
Yeah,
not worth going out of your way to see.
yeah. I think Romy's right here as well. Obviously, when he did that power of strength, my God, that hit the switch big time, didn't it? And it's just you're looking at a guy here and you go, "This is Mark Henry, but it's a guy who can move and do shit." This is
Yeah,
crazy.
sexual chocolate with I was going to say more sexual and more chocolate, but that would sound really bad on all levels. So just say yeah,
Yeah,
like Mark Henry, except a bit better, a bit more agile.
yeah. It brought me back when it wasn't really Jamaican. Yeah, when Kofi wasn't really Jamaican.
I still hold out hopes for that. I want him to feud with Apollo Crews, and he goes, "Weren't you Jamaican?" And then go, "Weren't you Nigerian?"
There's a show. Jay joining Priest and Rhea maybe.
For
And
the
if
yeah, actually, yeah, that would be.
interesting, yeah, because there
Would
has
you?
been a bit of
Yeah.
Instagram stuff and all, hasn't there? Yeah.
So that's three. If the chat can find two by the end of the podcast, I'll come on next week.
Yeah, there you go. There you
And the
go.
week after, the week
There's the
after.
promise. Damian Priest defeating JD McDonough by disqualification, and of course, then the
Poor,
Judgment Day, everything just went crazy.
poor Jordan. He takes the worst bumps you've ever seen in your life, but he's so good for it. But I would like WWE because we know him from OTT and
Mm.
NXT especially. He is a lot more than just jobber fodder. I didn't mean to make that rhyme, but you know what I mean. Like
I,
just
I
something
think
for
the way he goes about it creates a lot of credibility as well. He reminds me of remember when Dolph Ziggler was going through that phase where he was selling for everyone, but he was the best in the company at it.
oh
And
yeah,
he,
100%.
in terms of worker and stuff like that and all, JD's like that as well. And no matter who they've put him in there with, where he's had to do the job, he's done a phenomenal job each and every time. So no surprise.
No,
No
absolutely.
surprise at all. Io Sky defeating Sonya Deville.
They're not doing a good job of getting this new stable over. Needs DQ and then loses clean. I
Hmm.
think are Damage Control face now? Am I understanding that right? They're like a
I
baby
really
face.
don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
baby face damage control.
yeah. Anyway, how was the main event? Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Yeah.
The Wyatt six defeated Chad Gable and the Creed brothers. I have to say that entrance, that lantern sitting there, that spirit of Bray Wyatt,
Like the
really
Rock. Goosebumps.
got me going,
Yeah.
got the hairs up on the arms and all and stuff like that. I've been quite questionable on the Wyatt Six and how drawn out it's been and when we were going to see them and stuff like that and all. But you can see now how it's kind of going to fit in and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
becoming a bit clearer the way things are going to go.
Mm.
But I have to say that the entrance was phenomenal. I have to
Yeah.
say.
And I think, like it's no shock that obviously, Bray's left a huge void. So they can't just get six people and then just say, yeah, we're supporting Bray Wyatt. They need to build it out. Everyone needs to have purpose. So I think the video packages are great. And I saw a lot of people complaining, like, they build them up this much and then they just have like a normal wrestling match. I'm like, what? Yeah. Yeah, they had a normal tag match, which is really good, got over, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't really know what they were expecting. Because at the end,
This ain't GCW. They can't come out with chainsaws and cheese graters and pizza cutters and staple guns and all. And
as much as I would like Joe Gacy and Dexter Loomis to, especially Dexter Loomis because he looks like Rob Zombie right now.
yeah,
But no, they're a solid team, but they got that moment, and I think the Baltimore crowd for this were really really hot, and the fact that they're remembering Bray Wyatt. Or Michael Cole at the end said Bray Wyatt's looking down them,
yeah,
like, and he must be so proud. That's the point. That's all they want. I think
yeah.
they're really good, and I'm looking forward now. They've actually had a match to see where they go from here. And other than that, I thought this was a brilliant edition of Raw. Probably the best Raw after a pay per view in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt, without a doubt, and it was nice as well because I had a lot of blend of character and solidifying what we seen on the pay per view, plus plenty of wrestling in there as well to enjoy the show. Sometimes these Raws after the pay per views get lost in people just talking back and forward and cutting promos and silly little one off angles that don't mean anything and all. So I thought this they did it really really well. Bad Bunny joining Ray and Priest as well, maybe.
Can you imagine? I love
There
Bad
we
Bunny.
go.
That's fine by me.
Camera work by the cameraman on EO. Top marks from me.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Bronson Reed reminds me of that character Mantar.
Ah.
He's way better than that.
Yeah. Come on. Manter. Jesus Christ.
There we go. Joe Gacy is standing out for me in the way it's unreal in the ring. Yeah,
Yeah, he's
absolutely.
always been great. I just think his character work in NXT wasn't that good, but now that he's actually with a good character that works.
Yeah,
Everyone
yeah,
in the White Six has their own part, and they play it really well.
yeah. And they'll take a little time to figure out, like, they're going in there kind of as a faction and they have to try and figure out these different nuances. And let's not forget either as well. These are big dudes. They're not small dudes either. You know what I mean?
Jeez,
You've got
yeah,
Eric Rowan there's a big dude. You know what I mean? So for him to,
6'5"
yeah,
or 6'7" or something.
yeah, but
Yeah,
they're big as well. You know what I mean? And there's a kind of a blend in there of, good wrestler, solid kind of thing. But how they match up in these tag teams. Remember, it's been a while since since we got the Bludgeon Brothers or whatever it is, and Eric
ah,
Rowan and someone and stuff like that, of course. So we got to give them time to gel together and do their thing and all. So,
that's a
but yeah,
throwback. The Bludgeon Brothers, the
when will we see
Masks and the
Nikki in the
Hammers.
ring again? Yeah,
Um, I'd say soon enough, but you have to remember. Apparently, Braun Strowman and Alexa Bliss are also part of this. Braun's
mm,
doing his own thing, killing JD McDonough every week, and Alexa's still on maternity leave. Um,
mm,
I'd say soon, but they haven't attacked any like women yet. You know what I mean? It's just been Shaq Gable and things. So if they branch out and attack more members of the roster, I'd say we'd get Nikki in
mm.
right then.
Yeah, you might get something there maybe when Alexa returns or something like that. There might be that little link there or something. So who knows?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Right, let's change it up and go a little bit more local.
Haha. Brilliant.
Got a huge weekend coming up this weekend for Over the Top Wrestling. Three shows coming up. Friday night, Wolverhampton. Saturday, of course, Dublin in the National Stadium. And then, of course, Belfast on the Sunday. So a massive weekend of wrestling coming up, the biggest weekend in wrestling for Ireland and certainly for OTT without a doubt. Run us through it. Talk us through it. You're the guy. You're at these shows. Some of these guys I know. Some of these guys I recognise. Some of these guys I haven't got a clue who they are, but I can kind of look at it, kind of figure out what way it's going to go, knowing the guys and stuff like that. So you break it down for us.
Wow, what a task. So Scrappermania has now evolved from last year. They started doing it as a 3-night show, once in Wolverhampton, second night in Dublin, third night in Belfast. It's always been on St. Patrick's Day weekend. It was originally meant to be on April 20th, and then it got moved to August, and OTT owner Joe Cabray, I say OTT owner like you don't know who he is, Joe Cabray went on the podcast and said that they always do the 17th, like the Paddy's Day weekend. But it turns out that a theatre group came to National Stadium and took about 20 dates, including that date. So so they couldn't do that. So they moved April 20th. And there's a lot of stuff that happened. First of all, the WWE were doing a house show in Belfast on the 20th of April. And then they found out that the Europa Hotel wasn't going to be available on the 21st of April, which means Session Moss walks out down to Guinness. If anyone doesn't know our gimmick, that's it right there. I'll get on to her in a minute. But the 21st of April, wasn't available in the Europa Hotel. And then the final nail in the coffin was TNA and AEW announced that they'd be having shows on that weekend of April 20th. So it would have put out headliners, which probably could have been Nick Nemeth and Danhausen. Probably more, we don't know. But most importantly, it took out Trent Seven because he's the drawing power when they go to Wolves, and especially now that he's the world champion. So they said they were hoping to go to an August date, but they weren't sure. And then it was revealed that it was going to be this. And this Scrappermania, of course, all Scrappermanias have stars. I'll start with Wolverhampton because it's here. It's coming up on this side of my screen. I'm looking at, so Nick Nemeth obviously is there. Danhausen's there. Trevor Lee, formerly Cameron Grimes, just got released. Speedball Mike Bailey, who's probably, in my opinion, like my favorite import that OTT have ever gotten. It's a shame we don't get him as often as we do now, but I'm happy that we have him here. The match card for Wolverhampton: Dan Maloney from New Japan versus Connor Millis, who's a great young high flyer in the UK. They made a video. Dan Maloney had a video package saying that OTT offered him loads of people, and he turned them all down. But Connor Millis is the only one who interested him, and like they grew up together. But he's going to destroy him essentially. I think Dan Maloney will win this because he's really popular over in Wolves, and I think they need to. He could do the boost. Then above that we have Ireland's MVP. He has a very busy weekend, as you can see, against James Ellis. So for those of you who don't know James Ellis, I wasn't overly familiar with him, but he was on the Contenders show that happened in when was it? I have the poster back there. April 28th. Sorry about that. I promise I did the rest of my research. It's not just that. But he was on that show and he wrestled Cian Noonan. Very good, great heel, really up his own arse, but also really good in ring. He wears kind of like bright orange and yellow gear, so some kid in the crowd heckled him saying he was a highlighter. So that's always how I remember him. So he's facing LJ Cleary. I think LJ Cleary, like they always have him win in Wolves, he'll need a boost, especially going into the Dublin card tomorrow. And then this is probably one of the more interesting matches: Charles Crowley versus Danhausen. Two extremely colourful, unique characters. Charles Crowley is especially very popular in the UK, obviously a Progress. Danhausen was over in the UK recently. He actually faced Gene Money at Progress, and the match wasn't that good. So a lot of people are expecting this match to be far better. And then above that, we have a 6-man tag. I mean, this is just a total clusterfuck of a match. Look at this lineup: Robbie X, Speedball Mike Bailey, and Kid Lycos against Omari, Big Damo, and Love Island star Adam Maxted. Now, sometimes a Scrapper, they do a match and it's like a 6-man tag, and then it turns into a triple threat. I'm not sure that's going to be the case here. I think this is just a fun spot fest match to have for the crowd. I don't think there's any stakes to it at all. But Robbie X, if you don't know him, and Speedball Mike Bailey, I'm sure you do know, but Robbie X is so talented, an amazing high flyer. He's
I interviewed Speedball. I interviewed him for Morris's channel.
All right, yeah, he's a really nice guy, isn't he?
Yeah, very
so lovely, but he could kill you. He kicks that hard. He's really
extremely talented.
Yeah, so good. And it's so great that we're getting them back.
Hmm.
So I think it'll probably be Omari, Big Damo, and Adam Maxted winning this because Damo will be in the main event of Belfast, which we'll talk about a bit later, and Omari's from Wolves. So it's going to be a lot of the hometown boys going over.
Hmm.
And then for the OTT World Championship, but by the layout of this card, not the main event, Trent Seven defending against Trevor Lee, Cameron Grimes. Now, you'll notice Trevor Lee is on Wolves. He's not on Dublin. That is because he's actually double booked. So he's already booked for WXW in Germany that day, which is a pity. So hopefully we'll get him back at some stage.
Hmm.
But a lot of these matches, you can think there's legitimate arguments for either man winning. I'm telling you now, Trevor Lee's not winning. Not a hope in hell. He's not winning. If you only know him as Cameron Grimes, you'll forget how good he is. So I really hope he can show that. And I think Trent Seven will win. And then the main event, apparently, Nick Nemeth versus Man Like Darius. Man Like Darius is someone who was brought over like when OTT was coming back as an import, and he is so talented. It's so charismatic, so much fun. He's become a regular here at OTT. It's not even like an import. He's effectively on every show, and he's
Part
really
of the
popular
fabric.
everywhere.
Part of the fabric now.
Essentially, yeah, and he's part of the crop of talent from the UK who kind of got OTT on the Wolves shows. But he's so good. And Nick Nemeth, again, if you only know him as Dolph Ziggler, you'd forget how good he is. He's going to steal the show. I didn't mean to make that pun, but it's going to be a great match. I have a feeling Darius will win. Because I remember Matt Cardona put over Trent Seven, the hometown boy, when he was over in Wolves in October 2022. So I think Nemeth could do the same, but I could see either way. So that's Wolves. That'll be on Friday in the hangar. And if there's
Heck of a card. Heck of a card.
yeah, crazy card, isn't it? It shows it's kind of good the Scrappermania is delayed because it was definitely worth the wait. And with the 3-day weekend card, they have to do justice.
Yeah. Romy's in there, Sean. Where do they get OTT from? Do they want to watch it?
They have a YouTube channel where they have a couple of free matches, but if you want all the shows, you can go to ottondemand.com. You can pay, I think it's $7.99 a month to have it, or you can buy it annually for €85, so you get it for the whole year. The shows are normally uploaded around 2 to 3 days after. So if Wolverhampton's on Friday, it could go up on like Monday or Tuesday. Matthew
Sean,
Macklin.
is the full catalogue on there going all the way back?
Yeah, every show
Everything.
from the first show in front of 200 people in the Tivoli from 2014 to the last
So
show.
Romy, if you want to go back and look at some of those great shows in the Tivoli and stuff like that, Balor showing up, Osprey was in there, Ryan Smile, R.I.P. Of course, we remember
Yeah,
Ryan Smile greatly. Pete Dunne, all these guys in there doing their thing.
you wouldn't
Unbelievable.
you wouldn't believe the alumni OTT's had over the years. Like it's
It's
unbelievable.
incredible. It's incredible.
All right, and
Like
now
George Devlin, Gunther, and it's great to watch these. If you watch these and you look and see how these guys have developed, going then into WWE or AEW, wherever they went, and all that kind of stuff, and it's a phenomenal story, really.
absolutely. And now we move on to Dublin. Session Moth Martina, despite being the OTT Women's Champion, is only billed to be appearing, and she's not even advertised for the Wolverhampton card at all. I'm not sure what's going on there. Debbie Keitel relocated to the UK, as far as I know, for Mania weekend. Anita Vaughan moved as well. There's a young French wrestler called Corey Zero who's kind of starting a feud with Martina, but she's very new. And the last show, Martina faced Nina Samuels, and she actually won with a roll-up and holding the rope. And she turned on Charles Carley of Progress. So people are saying the OTT should kind of lean into her attitude change. They're not sure if it's going to be canon though. But I've heard people say that they actually have a mystery opponent for Martina. So she's going to be facing like someone that's going to be brought in from somewhere. I have no idea who it is. I heard people go crazy and say Becky Lynch. There's no way they'd afford that. But Becky and Joe grew up together in WWE, and they've known each other for a while. And at the Belfast show, I saw Paddy and Joe actually met Becky. So I don't think it's going to happen, but I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility.
No one expected Finn Balor to show up and all that, and don't forget, back in the day, these guys, Sheamus was on some of these shows and stuff like that, and all. So there's a long history there Would you be looking at? Could you potentially get the return of Katie Harvey? Could that be a thing? I'm not too sure because I'm
I
quite
think
detached from
I
it.
think I heard that she's working with Fight Factory
Mm,
at the minute, and I think she actually took a year or two away from wrestling because she had a child. So she's
mm,
focusing on like married life and stuff. Not married life;
yeah,
she's been married for a while, but having a life with a kid. I
yeah.
think that would be great because they have history together. Katie Harvey lost the belt shockingly in Belfast, like really quickly, like not that long into her reign, and
Mm,
she never came back. So I think that would be something
yeah.
looking into.
She also picked up those two tough injuries, didn't she? The two elbow injuries or whatever it
Yeah,
was. That set her
absolutely.
back quite a bit.
Yeah, that was a gruesome injury, and it was great. I was there when she beat, believe it or not, Lyra Valkyria at the fifth
Mm.
anniversary to get the belt back. So it was great to see her back. And I don't know if it would be for Martina now, but I would be hopeful that we could see her in some capacity again. And then you might be getting a bite of the nostalgia bug as BDE take on the lads from the flats, the original lads from the flats,
What's
Martin
the
and
promo?
Worky.
What's the promo the
Yeah,
other day?
they're back. Okay, so how do I? Okay, so BDE, these lads on the left. You'll notice Fabulous Nicky is there. His name is now Big Bad Dirty Nicky. The guy in the middle is called Bittersweet Josh. He's like his gimmick. He's like the Mega Chad
Mm.
of wrestling. And then the guy to their right is JB. He's John Bernard in Fight Factory, but he's just called JB here. So they have a really cool entrance. They come out to a 50 Cent song. They have a huge introduction. They bring like sheepskin coats over their shoulders, like sexy, smooth, cool. And then as soon as they get in the ring, they get pelted with toilet paper. I don't mean maybe one or two. Under every seat when you walk into the venue, there's a roll of toilet paper.
So you're talking Ring of Honor levels here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really bad. So they were the gender neutral champions at one point, and a girl called Celine from France won the belt off them. So they paid Ilya Zarkov, who you'll see just above, and I'll get to him in a minute, to get the belt back. So he got the belt back, and then he said, "You have to pay me €1 million, and you have until Scrappermania." And they don't have €1 million, so they're trying to find ways to make money. And one of the things they did was they stole Limo, who's the guy in the middle there. They stole
Yeah.
his dog and tried to sell it. But then it was revealed in later promos that when Martin was in prison, he gave the dog to Worky to mind. Worky couldn't mind the dog. He gave to Limo. Limo minded the dog, and then it got stolen. So we're
Mm.
talking like Al Snow, Big Boss Man levels
Yeah.
here, minus the eating of the dog.
Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
but
Yeah.
but they did a package on Twitter of Martin out of prison saying like, "Oh, I got a job now. Shout out to Joe and OT." He's got a job, and Worky is trying to convince him to come back and face BDE, but Martin's like, "I don't want to hear it. I don't want to wrestle again." And then Worky told him they took the dog, and now he's back in. And I know Martin's actually been training in America, and
Mm.
he looks in great shape. So I'm very interested in seeing that. And I think it's a proper send off. I'll be honest, I don't see, well, especially not Martin, but I don't see Worky or Martin coming back like full time. Even though Worky returned in the Rumble, I don't see
Mm.
them come back full time. So enjoy them while you can. But Martin lost his last match. Do you remember the final rave before he got locked up was against
That's
Gymnastics in
right.
Tivoli? He
Yeah.
lost. And then when he came back to face Kings of North to the titles at Scrapper, he lost again. So I don't
Mm.
know. They might do 3 in a row, but I had an idea. I envisioned like when Vince, because the toilet paper with BDE. Do you remember Hell in a Cell? I think it was Vengeance 2007, was it? It was 2006 actually. Unforgiven 2006. And they used Vince's head as toilet paper for a Big Show. I have a
Yeah.
feeling they could do something like that with
Yeah.
with BDE, so that could be interesting.
Is
Uh,
there is there an angle here? And I'm not too sure because I'm not close enough to it. I know Paddy
yeah,
is kind of retired somewhat and stuff like that. Is there an
yeah.
angle here for him to come out and get involved in this? Or
I could say so. He's not been involved in the storyline, and the
yeah,
lads Martin and Worky haven't been appearing in any of the shows, so it's been mostly like social media build. I mean, they have a new shirt this weekend. It's the old NWA Straight Out Compton
yeah,
graphic, but it's Martin, Worky, Paddy M, Limo, and Martina straight out of Michaels.
yeah,
I think that's just for nostalgia, but he could show up. I didn't think he was going to show up at the Rumble, and he did.
yeah.
And something happened with the draw, which I'll talk about with Paddy M. So
Mm.
I'd say he's definitely going to be there, probably just like watching it, hanging around and stuff. But him like wrestling on it, I wouldn't say it's outside the realm of possibility. And then Robbie X and Speedball Mike Bailey are having a match. We know how great they are. You'll notice this is a money match. OTT did this before with Robbie X and Man Like Dries, so they handed out raffle tickets. So one half the crowd got blue tickets, the other half got pink tickets. And then they said, if you have a pink ticket, your wrestler's Robbie X, blue ticket, man like Doris. And then they wrestle. And then whoever wins gets to get a raffle of their ticket for like €500. Now,
Okay.
that was fun, but they did that for matches that kind of needed a boost from the crowd.
Hmm.
I don't think this is a match that needs a boost because there's going to be 200 flips per minute. And I think the crowd are going to be really hot for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Romy's in there. Lads from the Flats, what tag team name? Quality. If you
Yeah,
get on that OTT on demand, you
yeah.
will fall in love with the lads from the Flats and the stuff they do, and even the interaction going back in the day with Foxy and all, and those spots there with the bags of powder and all is just
Yeah. And the thing
incredible.
you'd forget, you look at the gimmick and you wouldn't think they're anything much in the ring, but they're both like properly experienced competent wrestlers. Like they were around in the like 2010s as Thunder and Lightning, Lee
Mm.
Lightning and Thunder Titan. If God, if you want to go back,
They came into
that
me
far.
as kids. They used to come into me as kids in the shop. And
Jesus.
I kind of feel obliged that I kind of helped them send them on the path of going training and stuff like that and all.
Well,
Two great guys. They used
yeah.
to drive me mad in the shop as well. They
Oh,
used
I'd
to drive me mad.
imagine.
Lee actually was in with me before WrestleMania. He went over to Martin. He went over to Martin for WrestleMania and stuff like that. And all,
All
you know.
right. Okay.
Yeah, so it was nice to see that as
That's
well.
great.
These are lads, they've been coming into me since they were kids. And for Lee to come in then and he had all his kids with him, it was a cool moment as well. And
Yeah.
we were actually chatting about the history of the shop as well. And it got a bit emotional. I say it got a bit
Oh, I'd
emotional.
imagine. Like you've been around since the beginning of time. Like
No, it got a bit
when
emotional.
when Becky was only, like any of these lads, like wrestling in local shows in Ireland, coming in and doing signings with Paddy M, actually,
Mm,
that old, but it's so amazing to see what this has evolved into. Because as we
mm,
said, like it started as 200 people in the Tivoli Theatre, Paul Tracy, Dave Mastiff, and now it's a 3-day show with a show in England, show in Northern Ireland, 2,000 people in the National Stadium, the best international talent with the Irish talent on top of that. I mean, it's just
mm,
fantastic to see how it's come. Uh,
absolutely.
and then we have a 4-way for the GN title. Dan Barry, the adopted son of Ireland, against man like Dries, we talked about. And then two new guys, Golden Boy Santos and Ilya Zarkov. So Ilya Zarkov is the guy who BDE paid to get their belt back. And then he said he had a gun and he said, I'm going to kill you if you don't have that €1,000,000 by then. But he's essentially, he's like a Serbian gangster. Like he comes out with loads of chains and like he shoots people and he's like really rough and aggressive. But he's only defended the belt once, and that was on a school show in Italy. He's had the belt for all this time, but he's never actually defended it. So this is the first time he's going to be defending it like on a proper show. And then Golden Boy Santos, he's actually been in Rev Pro recently. He's huge, like 6'4" from Portugal. And he's actually like a gentle giant, and the crowd have really warmed up to him. And from talking to people, he's the heavy favorite to go over here. He's
Mm,
actually was in a storyline with a guy called Dara Lynch. He was in a tag team with a guy called Con Kelly from Monaghan, and they broke up, and they both went on different character paths. So he's a depressed guitar singer. He wears band merch. His hair's black. He wears black eyeliner, and he hates his mammy. Like absolutely loathes his mammy, and his mom's actually part of the character. And Santos like saying you should be nicer to your mammy. Uh, and like they had matches like for Mammy's custody of Mammy, a bit like Dominic.
mm.
But he's like a really really nice guy, really talented. I think on the first weekend he was brought in, he had 2 back-to-back bangers with Sammy D, who was champion at the time, and Big Damo, and he held up. He's getting very popular, so I think he will go over. And then we have the NLW Championship, Danhausen against Renzo Rose. So obviously you know about Danhausen. Renzo Rose, I think I heard some describe him as he's like a mix of Alberto Del Rio and the model Rick Martel. He is one of the new crop that came in since COVID finished and OTT started running shows again, and he became the top heel of the company. He's from Italy and he like hates Ireland, so dismissive of it. And he actually made a rule with the NLW Championship. He beat Trent Seven for it in Italy, and then he faced Be Cool in December. And he said, if Be Cool doesn't beat me, as long as I hold this belt, no Irish wrestler can challenge for this belt ever again. So he beat Be Cool, and now as no Irish wrestlers challenge for the belt. So he's defended against people from America, Canada. So he's defended against like Griffin McCoy, Vaughn Vertigo, Robbie X, and he's just been like the Irish talent, like that they're terrible. They don't serve a shot at this, so no one's getting a shot. Defending it against Danhausen, I think they're both very good comedy wrestlers, but I think Renzo is more of a professional wrestler than Danhausen. I think it'll still be a lot of fun though, but I don't see Danhausen winning. In fact, Renzo Rose is actually facing not Robbie X, Big Damo in Belfast on Sunday, and the whole point of that was Big Damo said, "You won't defend the belt against Irish people. I found a loophole. I'm from Northern Ireland, which technically isn't a part of Ireland. And I have American citizenship, which means I'm technically also American. So I'm not Irish, so I can challenge for the belt." So that's going to be the main event in Belfast on Sunday, and Damo will probably win that. But he's not losing to Danhausen. And then the tag titles, Social Elite versus the Freshness. So Social Elite were like a famous group back in OTT. They were top heels, managed by Paul Tracy. Everyone's been in there. Jordan Devlin was in there at some point. Worky was there. Charlie Sterling was not Charlie Sterling. Is it? No, I'm thinking something else. My brain's gone blank. But anyway, when OTT had the first show in the complex, it was built like a new era of OTT, and there was a new Social Elite. So it was Tracy managing Sean Guinness and this guy on the left called Matthew Bullet-Smith. Matthew Bullet-Smith's had a pretty quiet career. He only retired Paddy Morrow in the National Stadium. He is not very popular with the crowd, as you can imagine. He's like a typical D4 character, a bit like Ross and Carl Kelly. You know, he has, instead of 3 amigos, the D4 amigos. He's such an arsehole, but he's really, really, really talented. And obviously with Guinness, he's come leaps and bounds. But they won the tag titles off of Be Cool and Jay at the local Rumble in January, and they've been defending them since. And they're against the Freshness, who are Fabio and Martin Steers. And they're a really funny team, but unfortunately, they were so hot last year, and they had tag title match Scrapper, and they lost. Just like we were talking about earlier with Finn, they had the chance to strike when the iron was hot, and they didn't.
They did a build-up show on Morris's channel, GP Productions, as well, folks. So make sure you go over there and check that out. Freshness were there the other day.
No, they're brilliant. I think they would get the tag titles off the Social League because they've had them since January, but I could see it going either way, to be honest.
We got to talk about Sean Guinness, don't we, and how good he is. He's been around a long time.
I don't know the worst thing. He's been around a long time, and he is still like in the prime of his life, shape-wise and in-ring wise. Like he was
incredible. He did a massive stint over in 0-1 as well, and he was incredible over there as well.
Yeah, absolutely amazing. And then we have Nick Nemeth versus LJ Cleary. So this is one of the big matches of the weekend. Obviously, LJ, last time he was in the stadium, he lost to Danny Cross, but the time before that, he beat Matt Cardona. So LJ is kind of the measuring stick for these big imports. And he came back for Contenders in April because he was away in Japan with Noah. And and at the end of the show, as they were like not going off the air, but ending the show, they showed the Scrapper graphic with Danhausen and Nick Nemeth. And he just pointed at Nick Nemeth and went to Joe, like, I'm not saying, not telling you should, but it'd be cool if you did. But that's happening. I think that'll be such a good match because, like, LJ's the MVP of Irish wrestling, and he was always great. But I think the fact that he's gone to Japan and he's had that experience makes him even better. I think
he's been doing a bit. He's been doing a bit of coaching and mentoring down in Fight Factory, hasn't he? And apparently the stuff he's brought back from Japan has been unbelievable, according to people who have been attending the classes and stuff like that. So,
no, he's absolutely been making most of that time. I'd say he's going over here.
He's another one who's been coming into me since he was a kid.
Yeah,
huge John Cena fan and still is.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
still is.
Great guy. Yeah. Most of these guys, believe it or not, are huge John Cena fans, and they come into me and all. Balor is as well. Balor's a massive John Cena fan.
Yeah. Massive. Jesus. Yeah. That's crazy. And then it's not this, I wouldn't say it's a semi-main event, but it has huge implications for the main event. An 8-man tag, the draw, which is Sami D, Charlie Sterling, Adam Maxted, and Jay against Be Cool and 3 mystery partners. So the Draw have been the top heel faction in OTT since they came back, led by Sammy D. It was originally Sammy D, Max Dead, and Sterling. Jay was a tag team partner of Be Cool. Sammy D retired Be Cool and then manipulated Jay to join the Draw. So Jay's been in the Draw. Then Be Cool came back, and he was kind of a bit like R-Truth in the Judgment Day. He thought he was in it. He wasn't necessarily in it, but they warmed up to him eventually, and he joined. And then Be Cool won the local Rumble, and 2 months after that, Trent Seven defeated Sammy D and Jay with Sammy's belt on the line. And then at the show called Smackdown, because I had Brian Kendrick on it, Spanky, Smackdown,
Yep.
worst name for show ever. But they had a Draw segment there where it was like a meeting where Sammy was meeting up with everyone, because the Draw was in a bit of shambles. Be Cool had won the Rumble, and Supremacy, which was a show that was on Mania weekend, was a show Sammy D designed to have everyone in the Draw wrestle to find out who was the weakest link. So he wrestled Jay, Be Cool wrestled Renzo Rose, and Adam Maxted wrestled Scotty Davis. Maxted won, Be Cool won, but Sammy D lost. So he realized he was the weakest link in the Draw. So when he had this meeting, he said, "Barry, I know you'd do anything for the Draw." And he's like, lad, I'd shove me nanny down the stairs for the Draw. And he's like, I know you do anything for the Draw. So give me your title shot so I can face Trent Seven and win the title. And then he's like, no, I earned this shot. Like, I won the Rumble, you didn't. And then Sammy D made Max Dead and Sterling destroy him. They powerbombed through a table 3 times. And by 3 times, I mean twice. It didn't break. Third time it did.
Third time's a trick.
Yeah, I don't know where
Sabu feels.
Yeah, I think
from the Tivoli.
Yeah, I think Sabu's case and Joe's case and Be Cool's case and Angel Cruz's case at the anniversary show last year. I don't know where Joe invests in his furniture, but he needs to go somewhere else. It's not fit for purpose. But it was meant to be Cool versus Trent Seven, because obviously Be Cool won the Rumble. But then Sammy D interrupted an interview promoting that, and Be Cool said, "Well, how about this? The Draw, all 4 of you against me and my friends, and if we win, the Draw's gone. And the winner," I said this has big implications, "whoever wins this match goes on to face Trent Seven in the main event. So it'll either be Sammy D versus Trent Seven or Be Cool versus Trent Seven." And there's 3, you'll notice Be Cool has 3 mystery partners. I've heard a lot of people predict, and I have some ideas.
Who are you thinking?
They say his first partner is going to be Justy. Because obviously Justy and Sammy D and Be Cool were the gymnastics. Yeah. They're saying the second could be Angel Cruz, because obviously Angel Cruz and Be Cool were the Angel Cruisers. And people are saying the third could either be Jay, who's already in the Draw, but he turns his back on the Draw and joins and helps. I've heard people say it could be Joe Cabray either. Because back for the anniversary in October, like, the Draw were running rampant on OTT and abusing authority. And Joe came out of retirement to face Sammy D for the NLW title just to get 1 belt off of the Draw. And Jay interfered and caused Sammy D to retain. So people are saying that. But I heard people say when they did that segment where Barry got powerbombed through the table, they brought out Paddy M, Paul Tracy, Ango, and loads of other people just to try to break it up. Like, they weren't not as wrestlers, like as security. And Paddy M got punched in the face and, was beaten up and thrown off. So people are saying Paddy M could also be there, but I'm not sure. I think Angel, Justy, and Joe is probably a safe bet. But I think whoever it is, it's going to be very, very interesting.
Maybe the Lord of the Manor.
Oh, I don't know. It could go anyway. And then, of course, the winner of that faces Trent Seven in the main event. General consensus is it'll be Cool, and Be Cool will win. Which is kind of hard, because Be Cool's been a comedy character the whole time. And only now on these last 2 shows has he started to become a bit serious. And even when he's serious, he still has, the Be Cool edge that makes him so funny. But it's going to be very, very interesting. But I think it'll be Cool for sure.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if it was Joe as well, wouldn't it? Because Joe and Be Cool have had this kind of mad relationship as well. Like, so
the most coin toss relationship you can imagine. Like, since just like in 2019, just before COVID happened, they've been at each other's neck the whole time. And I forgot to mention, Joe got eliminated by Be Cool, which made Be Cool win the Rumble.
Okay.
So, they could play into that. And Joe was less than thrilled about it. He was trying to tell people to move, but the fans kept gathering into one section to stop, like to make a barrier for Barry to not get eliminated. And then Joe got eliminated. So they could do something like that. But like it's very unpredictable. And the fact that it is unpredictable and we can think about it, I think is really good. Like there's no dirt sheets, there's no Dave Meltzer or Sean Rossap reporting stuff. So you can't even have a guess. But I don't think they're going to disappoint. I think it'll be great.
Give us some of the highlights then going into Belfast.
So we don't have a graphic for Belfast because I think they still have add matches, but OTT haven't made a graphic. Obviously, Big Damo and Renzo Rose. One thing I forgot to mention actually was the last show was called Sanity because Sanity were at it. So it was Sanity,
Eric.
Axel, Eric, and Big Damo against Ilya Zarkov, who's the team with Renzo Rose, and a guy called the Sam. How do I describe Sam? He's like he doesn't talk. He wears face paint. He comes out with a duffel bag. He jumps. He bites people. He kicks people in the balls. He's like an animal. He always brings stuff in his bag. He's had guns in his bag. He's had cans. He's had teddy bears. He's like really weird, but he's really entertaining. But he's kind of been hanging on to Renzo Rose like a puppy. Okay. But they had a 6-man tag, and whatever team won that would pick the stipulation for the match with Big Damo and Renzo, and Sanity won. So there will be stipulation. They won't announce it until obviously the match, but that could have implications into the match. But I would think Damo's going to win, because this was actually meant to happen at WrestleRama in Belfast, but that got cancelled. So it's going to be here. But no, I'd imagine it'd probably be Damo. Also on the card, Speedball Mike Bailey is in action against Terry Thatcher, which I think is going to be a banger. Yeah, a lot of people are kind of underestimating that match, but it's going to be, I think it's going to be great. And then I think it's a 4-way. It might be 2 matches, but the way they formatted this, I think it's a 4-way, and it has Sam, Danhausen, Dan Barry, and Martina. Now there's no title on the line. It's just a normal 4-way, but it'll be fun. Martina and Sam are comedy characters, and Danhausen will be up to his usual tricks. They've announced that the OTT champion, which will be, it could be Trent Seven, could be Sammy D, could be Cool, might even be Trevor Lee. Whoever wins that will be facing man like Darius for the title. It will be Cool, but I don't see Cool beating Darius. But then I don't see Darius getting the belt like a day after Scrappermania. And he just had a shot at the title at Smackdown. He faced Trent Seven in the main event and lost. Very close, but he didn't win. So I don't know. And also on the Belfast card, Scotty Davis is facing a guy called Luke Frehill. And Joe actually mentioned Luke Frehill. I think he's from Kilkenny. He's called like the Irish Chainsaw, Luke Frehill. He only really got on shows like earlier this year because he had a really bad knee injury, like to put him out of action. And they said he's a brilliant wrestler and like he's a star and he's gonna do really well. But Scotty Davis is really tough for a first opponent. I think he's in a little over his head. And then the only other match I can think of in Belfast is LJ Cleary again. He's facing a young guy called Cian Noonan. Cian Noonan is part of this new crop. Sculpted Cian Noonan. He's a young guy. He's in great shape. He's very likable. Really, really good in ring. For the anniversary shows in October, he actually faced Robbie X in Belfast. Didn't win, but was like neck and neck with him and really won over the crowd. I don't see LJ losing though. So I think he'll beat him, but I think it'll be a great match. But yeah, that's Scrappermania weekend, biggest weekend in Irish wrestling history, and I'm so grateful and thankful that I'm able to go. And isn't it great to have something like this, international talent and then Irish talent on top of that, and to have this quality of wrestling, this quality of talent, an hour and 45 minutes away on a bus is unbelievable. And I will tell you, Dublin is dangerously close to selling out. They have the floors completely gone. They have about less than 100 stalls left. They probably might even have less by the time people see this. So if you're going to go, get your tickets pronto.
Always a great night out. And OTT, one of the premier promotions in Europe at the moment, absolutely knocking it out of the park again. Massive bounce back since COVID and everything and all. Could have easily went under during COVID and stuff like that, but Joe and the boys did a fabulous job there, and it's unbelievable. So Make sure you go to it. I used to go to them years ago in the Tivoli and all. They were great nights out, stellar nights out. Still remember them to this day. Fond memories and stuff like that and all. So make sure you try and get to these shows and support them as well. Local promotions, really important. Don't be worried about WWE Live in November. Support OTT first of all, and then support WWE. And Sean, we'll have you back on next week where we'll go through the results. You can give us a breakdown of the shows. I presume you're attending. Is it just Dublin you're going to, or are you doing Belfast?
It'll just be Dublin, but I will be watching all the ones as they come out. And there'll be people who'll be going to all that I know, so I can talk to them there. But yeah, I'll be at Dublin, 100%.
Yeah, make sure you snap us some images and pictures as well and stuff like that, and send them on, and we'll put some slides together and stuff like that as well. And if you're doing any of the meet and greets or anything like that, or
believe it or not, I am meeting both Nick Nemeth and Danhausen before the show.
And why not?
A little intimidated about Danhausen. Nick Nemeth will be lovely, but I'm just worried.
Danhausen's following is cult level. It's unbelievable. Honestly, I went to WrestleCon, and the queue for that guy was insane.
Yeah,
insane. And
just worried about. I just hope he doesn't curse me.
Even when we get his shirts into the shop, a lot of them don't even go to wrestling fans. They go to comic book fans and convention fans and stuff like that. No, not even wrestling fans. It's crazy the draw that he has, and fair play to him and stuff like that. And all, So. Obviously, folks, if you can't obviously tune in, you'll get it also on OTT on demand and all that kind of stuff as well. But 2-3 solid shows there. OTT really shown that they can really put on this whole weekend. Absolutely unbelievable. We will have Sean back on next week to go through it all and break it all down and what does it mean now going forward into the autumn with the summer kind of curtain coming down on the summer tour, if you want to call it, if you like. And obviously we'll be discussing all the other wrestling news that comes out and stuff like that as well. So make sure, folks, if you want to get your wrestling news here every week on a Wednesday, Pro Wrestling Weekly, part of the upper tier offering, make sure you're liking the video, subscribing to the channel, hitting the bell notification, all that stuff there. Checked it out again the other night with 77 views straight away off the bat, and not those 77 views, 10 likes. You're letting us down. You guys who are moonlighting in the background, you're letting us down. Like the video. Like. I don't want to have to keep on saying it during shows because we love the flow of the shows and stuff like that. So from myself, Niall Hogan, and of course from Sean, Mr. OTT Guy on the channel, of course, and stuff like that and all. He will be back next week, give us a rundown of all 3 shows. I'm sure they're going to knock it out of the park. And we will talk to you again real soon. Cheers, Sean.
Thanks very much, Niall. See you at Scrappermania.